Hold up. Every day I wake up.
Wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. All right. Now, if you follow Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays beat the Mariners 8-2. The series is tied 2-2, and the Dodgers beat the Brewers 3-1. Now, tonight, the Blue Jays play the Mariners in Game 5 at 6 p.m. All right. Also, tonight, the Brewers take on the Dodgers at 8:38. All right. What's up, Mimi?
Good morning, Envy, Jess, Charlamagne. How y'all doing?
Excuse me,
morning. Good morning. All right. Well, we start this morning with John Bolton, President Trump's former national security advisor, now facing federal charges. A grand jury in Maryland has indicted Bolton on 18 counts, 8 for sharing national defense information and 10 for keeping it at home. Now, prosecutors say he passed along more than 1,000 pages of sensitive materials to his wife and daughter who didn't have clearance to see it. Now, a news of the indictment broke. Reporters pressed President Trump for a reaction, asking if he was aware of the charges against his former advisor. Let's listen to what he had to say.
Mr. President, John Bolton was just indicted by a grand jury in Maryland. Do you have a reaction to that?
I didn't know that. You told me for the first time, but I think he's, a bad person. I think he's a bad guy. Yeah, he's a bad guy. It's too bad, but that's the way it goes.
The case against him?
That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. Will I what?
Have you reviewed the case against him?
No, I haven't. But I just think he's a bad person.
What does he mean he doesn't know that? He's the reason Bolton got indicted. He's the one who called for it, okay? Bolton wouldn't be getting indicted if Trump didn't tell him to do it.
Well, yes, you're right. So Bolton, he is expected to turn himself in today at the federal courthouse in Greenbelt, Maryland. His case has been assigned to a judge who was appointed by President Obama. Investigators say Bolton also kept a printed diary of pages at home and used his personal email to send classified details, something the FBI calls a clear violation of federal law. Now, Bolton, of course, is saying this is political. In a statement, he said that he is the latest target in what he calls Trump's effort to punish his critics. He also pointed out that his book in 2020, The Room Where It Happened, was reviewed and cleared by officials years ago, and that no charges were filed up until now. Now, if convicted, Bolton could face up to 10 years in prison for each count. He is now the third Trump critic indicted in recent weeks, following former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James.
Man, Trump needs to write a book on how to make people bend to his will. Okay, you can't tell me it's just because he's president, because plenty of people have been president, but I've never seen them wield power like him. Folks just do whatever he tells them to do. Mm-hmm. There are no checks and balances. None.
They scared, though.
Of what, though? That's my point. Of what?
Getting locked up? Like these other three people getting charged?
I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime.
And then even the free speech, like you getting people shows that canceled and taken off networks and stuff. I mean, people definitely scared of him.
Well, Jimmy Kimmel, that kind of backfired on Trump. But I'm just saying, I've never seen anybody bend to the will of a president the way that these folks do. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that going on. And now we are in day 17 of a government shutdown, and there is still no deal in sight. Now, the Senate, they tried for the 10th time yesterday to pass a funding bill, but it failed again before lawmakers left out of town for the weekend. That means the shutdown will roll into next week. Now, Republicans, they are shifting their strategy. GOP leaders are now considering a plan to pay federal workers who've missed checks since the shutdown began, something they refuse to do unless Democrats agree to reopen the government. The bill is sponsored by Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, but it needs 60 votes to advance. They're also looking at another bill from Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan that would guarantee pay for military members. But Democrats say they won't back any standalone bills unless there's funding for health care, housing, and other programs that Americans depend on. And now, as I mentioned, the shutdown is in its 17th day. It is now tied for the third longest shutdown in U.S. history. And as the standoff drags on, pressure is shifting from Capitol Hill to the kitchen table. I mean, most federal workers, they're still furloughed or working without pay. Military families, they got paid this time around, but their next payday on October 31st, that is still uncertain. And meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture, they are warning that SNAP benefits, food stamps, could run out by November if this drags on, affecting more than 42 million Americans that depend on those benefits for groceries.
That's when things going to get real, when that SNAP and that WIC run out. Mm-hmm. And just let the record show, the first longest government shutdown was also Donald Trump's first term. It was 35 days back in 2018.
That's right.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. So coming up at 7, how much are you willing to pay for comfort? One airline is putting passengers to the test. We'll tell you what's changing and why it could really catch on.
Spirit about to make y'all sleep on the floor.
Lord,
And back.
All right. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get some front page news. Now, some quick baseball. The Blue Jays beat the Mariners 8-2. The Dodgers beat the Brewers 3-1 tonight. The Blue Jays play at 6:08, and the Brewers play the Dodgers at 8:38. What's up, Mimi?
Good morning, Envy. Jess, Charlamagne, how y'all doing?
Peace, Mimi.
Oh, and I forgot to say, I'm so sorry. The Steelers lost last night. The Bengals beat the Steelers 33-31 in NFL Thursday Night Football. What's up, Mimi?
All right, well, we start this hour in New York City, where the first mayoral debate is still in the books. And all three candidates, they came ready to make their case to voters. Democrat Zoran Mondani, Independent Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa faced off for 2 hours. This was the first general election debate, and it didn't take long for things to heat up. Now, Mondani, the 33-year-old Democratic socialist, is leading in the polls. He took most of the heat, with his rivals questioning his experience and how he plans to pay for his big ideas on housing and affordability. Let's listen to that exchange.
He's never had a job. On his resume, it says he interned for his mother. This is not a job for a first-timer. Any day, you could have a hurricane, you have, God forbid, a 9/11, a health pandemic. If you don't know what you're doing,
Cuomo.
people could die.
Mr. Mondani, do you want to respond?
And if we have a health pandemic, then why would New Yorkers turn back to the governor who sent seniors to their death in nursing homes? That's the kind of experience that's on offer here today. What I don't have in experience, I make up for in integrity. And what you don't have in integrity, you could never make up for in experience.
That was a bar.
Yeah, he was shooting. He was shooting.
That was a bar.
Absolutely. And, also the debate, it turned national, with all three candidates asking how they would work with President Trump if they were elected mayor. Let's listen to some of that exchange.
I'd like to work with you. I think we can do good things together. But number one, I will fight you every step of the way if you try to hurt New York.
Unless he weaponizes the justice system to go after the attorney general of this state, in which case you'll issue a statement that doesn't even name the president. I would make it clear to the president that I am willing to not only speak to him, but to work with him if it means delivering on lowering the cost of living for New Yorkers.
You can be tough, but you can't be tough if it's going to cost people desperately needed federal funds. Zoran Mondani, the president, has already said it's going to take $7 billion out of the budget right from the start if you're elected mayor. What I would do is sit and negotiate.
Well, analysts say Cuomo showed command of the issues, but spent much of his time on the defense. Mondani, he stood out with his stage presence and those sharp sound bites we just heard. Critics, though, say he sidestepped questions about his past progressive positions, and he even apologized again for past tweets. And Sliwa, he came out like a street-level fighter. He kept swinging at both of them as he stood right in the middle. Now, the latest polls show that Mondani is still in the lead, and Cuomo is closing in, and Sliwa, he is still trailing behind. Now, the next and final debate will be set for next Wednesday, October 22nd. That's just 3 days before early voting begins on October 25th. And that's less than 2 weeks before Election Day on November 4th.
Yeah, I do believe Mondani should explain how he plans to do a lot of the things that he says he's going to do, because his messaging of affordability is a great one, but oftentimes I don't hear the how. And I also agree with the fact I don't want to hear him keep apologizing for old tweets and old social media posts. That'd be the problem when you were a little bit younger, right? Because you.
But they keep bringing it up. That's the reason why.
Yeah, but it's just like, either stand on some of it instead of trying to avoid it, or just
he backpedaled a lot of that.
Yeah, he did. It's like he either didn't stand on it or apologized for it. It's just like so you don't believe none of this, and maybe he don't. I mean, you post something when you're 20, 10 years later, you like, damn, why did I post that?
Right.
It just sounds like, I don't want to say childish because it's the world we in, but it do sound childish to have to keep apologizing for old tweets, because Cuomo ain't apologized for none of the charges he got.
Nope.
They bringing up Cuomo criminal potential investigations and charges and killing old people.
Nope. He kept it moving.
He ain't apologizing for none of it.
He kept it moving.
He was like, that's not true. That's not true. If I'd have Mondani, I'd have said the same thing. That's not true. That's AI. I didn't post that. That was a fake tweet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about something we can all agree on, which is saving money, or at least we thought we were saving money until Amazon dropped this lawsuit, until this Amazon lawsuit dropped. Well, now 2 shoppers, they are suing Amazon, claiming the company misled customers during its big Prime Day sale that featured fake prices that made discounts look better than they really were. Now, in this new class action lawsuit filed in Washington state, the plaintiffs say Amazon listed higher original prices to make deals seem deeper than they really were. So for an example, a pair of headphones was advertised as 44% off $180, but the suit claims that that same pair had actually been selling between $130 to $160 before the sale. Another deal, a kid's tablet, was listed at 40% off $120, but according to the lawsuit, that same tablet had been going for as little as $50 a month before. So shoppers say that Amazon is creating a false sense of urgency, and it's pushing people to quick purchases, calling the discounts false and misleading. Now, Amazon has not commented on the sale, but they said that their July Prime sale was its biggest sale ever, saying customers saved billions of dollars. We know it just wrapped another Prime sale last week. Now, what this means for you, that if this lawsuit goes through, it would mean that retailers have to be more transparent about how they advertise their deals, which will mean fewer fake discounts and more honest pricing. So
that's crazy.
I know that those deals always get me. So also, and switching gears just a little bit, let's talk about flying, right? So first it was bag fees, then it was legroom fees, maybe even paying for your seat assignment. But what if reclining your seat came with a price tag too? Are y'all still flying?
Now, that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Airplane tickets are already expensive enough, Mimi. Yeah. We can't pay for no reclining seat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, one airline is testing out that very idea. So WestJet, the Canadian carrier that flies to 19 U.S. states, including Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., they are rolling out planes where standard economy seats no longer recline. Now, if you want to lean back, you'll have to pay extra. The airline says it's reconfiguring 43 of its planes with what it calls a fixed recline in regular economy. Now, WestJet says the goal is to preserve personal space, so no more battles over the seat in front of you leaning back too far. And if you do want to recline, you just have to upgrade to a premium or extended comfort seat, which of course is going to come with a higher price tag. But WestJet says this is all about keeping fares low, but critics say this is just another example of charging for what used to be standard.
Yeah, I've never been on WestJet in my life, and I'm pretty sure that I will never be on there ever now.
Yeah, I've been on WestJet before because sometimes when you go to certain areas, they only have a WestJet, especially in Canada. But that's ridiculous. Like the fact that, and what happens if I go to buy a ticket and all the reclining seats are booked up, so I can't recline? I got to sit straight up the whole flight. That doesn't make no sense.
Salute to Delta, salute to JetBlue. Those are my go-tos.
Yeah,
you know
Delta,
what I mean? I do United and American is cool too. Overseas, Emirates. Okay, if you catch a Virgin Atlantic, that's great. WestJet, y'all can kiss my ass. Okay, charging for reclining seats. You know how ridiculous that is?
That's stupid.
Yeah,
that's like charging for water.
You might not get water on that flight.
You probably won't.
Yeah,
but they'll see when they get less and less business.
So what if a guy fly you out and he don't pay for your seat to recline? Would you still give him something when you got there? Well, damn, that's a charge now. You can't even do that no more.
No, yeah, I can't. No.
Well, yeah, y'all. Okay, well, that is your front page news. I'm Mimi Brown. Follow me at Mimi Brown TV for more stories. Follow the Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app or visit BINnews.com.
It says a lot about you, though, if you want to fly a girl out on WestJet and don't pay for their recliner seat. If that man don't pay for your recliner seat, man, he don't really value your vagina, ladies. I just want to put that out.
Well, he can't be flying you out anyway because that's traffic.
Oh,
that's traffic. That is traffic.
But not even that. Just not even your vagina, your neck, because you're going to have a stiff neck the whole time. So
you know what I'm saying? God dang. Imagine a man asking for oral and he done made your neck stiff because he wouldn't pay for your recliner seat. This is crazy. The world we in right now is crazy.
All right. Thank you, Mimi. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Y'all too.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?